All right, dogs. Let's do this.
So,
All right.
Week number 9. Welcome to the Sun Journal Sports Fun Fest Friday Night Football Show, and let's get right into it. Thanks for joining us so late. Well, it wasn't a playoff game, but it was a huge game anyway. Edward Little Lewiston, despite their records, it's always going to be one of the best rivalries in the state. Lewiston won 13-7. How did it happen?
defense, like I was just saying, if you before we kind of started this thing, I'm not usually one to enjoy defensive battles much, but it was a fun one tonight. The defenses made big plays, a lot of sacks, a lot of tackles for loss, some huge interceptions. It was a lot of fun. It was a great atmosphere. You wouldn't know that the teams had one combined win going into it. There was kind of a buzz all around Don Field going into it, and a lot of emotion. Just a lot of fun. Lewiston's defense was the better defense early. Getting interceptions, sacks, tackles for loss, but EL's defense in the late in the first half, really pushed back Lewiston, and almost got touchdowns and safeties out of it. In the second half, they were even better. Dave Sterling said after the game, EL coach Dave Sterling said, the intensity just picked up in the second half, and that's kind of what got them, to score late and get it close right there at the end.
Yeah, 0-9 is how the Reddities finish, but the reputation they have is they play till the end every time, even though it's been a frustrating season. I'm sure they've played till the end, which it's pretty admirable to say for a team. And Lewiston on the ground was just a lot better. Sounds like they had a lot more running yards.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was Donovan Jackson, running around from the quarterback spot, or Cameron Karen or Eli Bigelow, which are their running backs who are bigger guys, kind of busting it through on some runs. But second half, EL started to stop those. They had a couple huge tackles for loss where Lewiston would try to sweep it out to the edge, and EL's defenders kind of cut through the line and knocked them back for losses. And Lewiston really couldn't do much on offense in the second half, save for the early touchdown drive in the third quarter, which was only a 31-yard drive based off 2 Cameron Karen runs.
So Justin Pelletier, our old friend, said that the bridge remains property of the Blue Devils, which is not very biased. And he also said that he loves the game, still matters every year. And so and it sounds like it did. I mean, on social media, both student sections were pretty jazzed about the game. And so it sounds like they were pretty excited, even though it was not a great season, I think, and neither team's going to make the playoffs, and so it's over right now, but still a lot of excitement there.
Yeah,
I still feel bad that I missed it.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of added to it was, both teams knew that this was it, and they were both kind of in similar records, so it seemed like a competitive matchup going in. It's just like, make the best of it, and being your rival can kind of make your season a little bit. But that's probably the most buzz I've seen that new Don Field, since it opened 3 years ago, I think. Even some of those Lewiston boys soccer games didn't have the buzz that this football game had tonight.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. Seems like every game has been played at that field since it opened. Every rivalry game, but maybe I'm wrong. But it seems like every time. I guess that's not possible, because I think when EL beat Lewiston like 2 weeks in a row, 3 years ago, I think they were both at Walton. So maybe I'm completely wrong.
And then they had the Bates game because the field wasn't ready.
Yeah, that was 2017, I believe.
I think that was my first one with the Sun Journal. So
okay,
that's probably why I remember it.
Yeah, and both teams were really good that year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Garrett Hurley.
EL was undefeated, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think they were.
Seems so long ago.
I know. Is that 2017 though, or 2018? Anyway, it's neither here nor there right now.
Basically.
Justin Pelletier says, to be fair, Walton has a better atmosphere with a packed house. But man, has he even seen the new Don Rue? That guy, Justin Pelletier, was here a long time ago.
Fraud.
Walton is a great atmosphere too.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna kind of miss
I'm
it.
gonna miss it.
when they
Bim
open up
Gibson
new one.
on our podcast, Louis, said that they used to put 4,000 to 6,000 people at Walton Field to come out for those games in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I just can't picture that many people at Walton Field.
Well, if
He
they're
said
standing like behind the end zones, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could
Right.
be, but
Just
all right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say what's next for Lewiston and Edward Little.
They're both losing their quarterbacks, and so that's obviously really huge. And the numbers are kind of low for schools that size. So I don't know. We'll see where they go.
Yeah, I know that's kind of the saddest thing about last year's lost season and this season is we've seen so many really good players who are seniors who we hadn't seen before, and now all of a sudden it's like, all right, well then now their careers are over. Whether it's Donovan Jackson or Jack Keefe, or you look at Spruce Mountain with Cam Phillips, it's like, oh, those are really fun players to watch, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too bad because seems like they just started playing. So yeah, it's too bad. But best of luck in the off season. Hopefully, I don't know it sounds like both teams are losing some key players, so it's hard to know how exactly they're going to fare next season. But probably likely going to struggle, especially if they're neither team. I think you said neither team really had 30 players on the sideline today.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think both probably had just over 30 in uniform, but not all those kids had pads on. So
okay,
they gotta find some more kids in those schools and get them to learn football.
Yeah, it's hard to get kids to come out and get thrashed by Thornton and a few other teams every year. It's hard. Justin said that the 2003 game had that many people.
Huh.
So
with 8.
He counted them by hand.
Yeah,
what's that?
Justin brought a notebook. Yeah, he brought a notebook around and was just making tally marks.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yep.
He had an abacus.
I could see him doing it. I could see him doing that. He actually just said that many. He wasn't specific, so he just is. I guess he's admitting it. Okay, let's go on to so have a good off season, Edward Little and Lewiston.
Thanks for a great game, Edward Little and Lewiston.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what a great way to end their season with your gratitude. Adam.
Yeah.
You had a good game too. A couple of rivals playing for to advance in the playoffs. Dirigo beat Mountain Valley 35-30 in the 8-man small school South semifinals.
Yes.
And
it rocked.
Yeah. So why did this one rock?
So that Robert Levely that we were talking about last week, who had like 5 interceptions for Mountain Valley, he did everything on the ground for the Falcons running the ball. I think he had it was like 316 rushing yards. He was unbelievable. You couldn't stop him. But then on the other side, and Dirigo's side, Charlie Houghton I think had 320 passing yards. I can go to my story and look, but this is just off the top of my head. But 300 passing yards. He had like 60 rushing yards. It was just back and forth. Neither team really was able to pull away at any time. Mountain Valley took the lead with 3:40 left, and then Dirigo came right down. And then with, I think, 2:09 left, they scored to take the lead for the final time. It's just really awesome. I mean, those two teams, they're a little bit more spread out than EL and Lewiston, but I mean, basically right down the road, all the kids know each other. I was talking to a Dirigo kid who said some of them live in the Mountain Valley area, which I mean, I have no idea how that happens. I don't know what the zoning is, but I mean, they all know each other. The two communities came out. It was packed. Just down the sidelines, it was like 2-3 rows deep, just standing. It was just really fun, really loud, a lot of points, and just a really fun time. It was fun, and that Dirigo team, I think, has won 7 in a row now, if they're 7-2, and
Yeah.
they're gonna play either Telstar or Maranacook next week, and I don't see how they couldn't be in the game with either of those two teams, even undefeated Telstar. So they're clicking at the right time, and this win streak is really impressive. And when their offense is going, they're really impressive too.
Yeah, I almost wonder if if I would even like expect Dirigo to beat either of those teams with everything they have. But Telstar has a lot too, and Maranacook has some experienced players and some good players who didn't play the first time. So I think that's going to be a whale of a South final.
Yeah, it is going to be a whale of a South final. You're right. Both teams, yeah, they would put up a really good test. Obviously, Telstar hasn't lost yet. They're a really tough defense. They're good quarterback. Just a really functional offense. They get the job done. But Dirigo's offense can break a play at any time with their skill guys and their quarterback, who's only a junior. You're talking about seniors that we only got to see a year of. We get to see Charlie Houghton again for another season. So, this Dirigo team's going to put up a fight against either of those two teams. I'm going to be at the Telstar Maranacook game tomorrow, and then we'll see. Yeah, I know. But I'm sure the community is still going to come out for it. It should be a fun time there. But I think Dirigo can play with either of those two teams. I've seen them both play. I mean, granted, it was against each other in week like 4 or 5, but this Dirigo team's really fun to watch in person, and their offense was clicking tonight. But so was Mountain Valley's. I mean, it just came down to, who had the ball last, and Mountain Valley's last drive had 3 or 4 penalties on it because they were just gassed, I think. And but Mountain Valley had every chance to win that game too. So it's cool to see Mountain Valley's climb, because the first game they played, it was 16-6, and Mountain Valley only put up 6 points. But having Robert with them in the backfield was a huge game changer, obviously, and really made the game different this week.
Yeah, it seems like both teams have come along throughout the season. Both those squads.
Yep.
They've gotten better every week. So that's really cool. Really, really fun that the game went like that.
And I've watched a couple 8-man games now, and today this didn't even seem like, I didn't even really notice that it was only 8 players in the field. It was just a really fun football game. And so I'm glad that schools are doing it and excelling in it, like these two did. Finally figured it out at the end, and had Mountain Valley really respectable season, and Dirigo just a phenomenal season so far. So see if they can keep it going.
I'm hoping both those programs can kind of build off it. And, if they need to stay an 8-man for how many years, I hope they rally around that, because it's a fun brand of football. And it still is football, blocking, right, tackling, yep, playing defense, making the right play, just less people and, kind of more space on a smaller field.
Yeah, if you're a skill guy, I would want to play 8-man. You make one guy miss, and you got 20 yards of space in front of you. So, I hope they can build on it. It seemed like Dirigo, I mean, that crowd, after going to a JV schedule 2 years ago and then bouncing back and having this season, it's really cool. And Coach Craig Collins mentioned the community first and what he was happiest about, that they get to be a part of this season and real football again.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about Telstar and Maranacook later, but people want to talk about it. Who do you think wins that game?
Telstar and Maranacook?
Who scores more points?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yep. Yeah, well, there's a 50-50 chance that Telstar wins, and there's a 50-50 chance that Telstar loses. So it's, who knows? But I think
Thanks for participating in this show, guys.
you're welcome.
Good job. Thanks. Good job, Will and Adam. Good effort.
I think Will Doyle's been playing really well for Telstar, the quarterback. It seems like he's growing every week within that offense and gaining more trust of Coach Tim O'Connor. Tim keeps praising his good play the past few weeks. Telstar gets to have the bye week from last week to prepare for Marina Cook and just get healthy again. But I'm not sure how that's going to hurt or help them. But tomorrow's going to be wet, and Telstar can move the ball on the ground. And so if I had to pick, I would pick Telstar, but I think it's going to be very, very close because if Marina Cook has all their guys back from COVID stuff and have a few weeks under the belt altogether, then I think it could be anybody's game.
Yeah, you'd think with the pouring rain that there wouldn't be much passing.
No, but if Will Doyle does need to make a pass or two, he can. He's shown it. He's scored a bunch for them. He's really leading the team. I think he's only a junior. Really just a fun team to watch and an impressive, obviously 7-0 season so far. So I'll see if they can keep it going. But either of those two teams against Dirigo would be really, really fun to watch next week. So I'm excited either way.
Yeah, well, you guys are kind of spineless, but I think that I don't know, like it's for some reason I think Marina Cook's gonna win, but
Wouldn't surprise me.
So Justin Pelletier wrote, undefeated Telstar sounds funny. Love to see them rise from the dead, just odd sounding. And Ryan Palmer says that Marina Cook's gonna pull the upset.
Wow.
But I think, and I keep like doubting Telstar throughout the season. And so I don't know why I keep doing it, but I think it's just because they have like decades of struggling to even win games, to even field teams. And all of a sudden they come from out of nowhere that we're not ready for a world where Telstar goes all the way to the state
What
championship.
are we? The
And
thing
so
is,
I think
tomorrow's weather is a great equalizer. Like I just don't know.
I think that we just keep underrating them because of their past, and
No, you keep underrating them.
I do, and I think
Adam and I are riding the wagon.
I think maybe Ryan Palmer's doing it too. And
Wow.
No, I don't think this is a like David versus Goliath. I think this is a team that just didn't lose versus the team that had some issues and had some, COVID buys, and it's probably better than their record says they are. I think it's a pretty even matchup.
Yeah, you can easily make the case for Marina Cook. I mean, their quarterback was practicing for a day before their game with Telstar, and he didn't practice with the team at all before that because of quarantine stuff. And then they put up the closest fight with Telstar this season that they've had. Telstar's blown out and run away from everyone else they've played, and Marina Cook almost had a couple chances to win that game at Telstar on a really nice sunny day. So tomorrow, a wet day, the quarterback can move, can run out of the pocket and run down the field. So they could easily get Telstar on their heels. Telstar is prone to make mistakes. They're a pretty emotional team. So you could see them kind of get knocked down early and see how they have to recover. And then the bye week, are they rusty? Are they more prone to be knocked back early? So we'll see. That you could definitely see Marina Cook winning. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. But Telstar still hasn't lost. So, I mean.
And they're at home, and
yeah, man, that Bethel home field advantage is no slouch.
No, they filled the sidelines and the bleachers in the Marina Cook game. I mean, it was homecoming, but they're ready to go. So should be fun.
Yeah, and and obviously Telstar barely won 14-12, and that was with Miranda Cook's best player only having like 2 practices or whatever.
Right.
And so you think like, oh, Miranda Cook should be better. But also Telstar was they seemed pretty embarrassed by that game too, that they only won by 2 points.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. It was a big wake-up call.
So yeah, so instead of being really happy about a win over Miranda Cook, they were just like, only by 2 points, and we didn't play them very well. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, and 2 years ago they were 3-1, and then they started really feeling themselves, and they lost that game after they were 3-1, and it kind of broke them. So they won the game that could have broken them this year, and it seems like Will Doyle just scores more touchdowns as the weeks go on after that. So they're no.
Yeah, I mean, Will Doyle and Miles Lilly, and then Braden Stevens is really good too.
Yep. I wouldn't want to try to tackle Braden Stevens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some big kids.
Gavin want to tackle anybody.
Andrew Layton going to the Marines is a lineman and a linebacker. Just have fun with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't want to tackle anybody. You're right, Will. Same.
Yeah, I think either way, next week's game is going to be awesome.
Yep.
So the one final thought on the Mountain Valley and Deergo game is, our friends Peter and Shauna Chase from last week, they said that penalties killed Mountain Valley.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Ryan Palmer asked me to add up the penalty yardage that Mountain Valley had, and I think I had them at like 86 yards. Okay. And a lot of them were fourth quarter holdings and false starts and things like that. So yeah, it hurt them a lot because they would get a big chunk of yardage from Levelly, but they'd have to come back, and yeah, it did hurt them a lot.
Yeah. So Oxford Hills, another big game was Oxford Hills. They beat Bangor pretty well, 49-20.
Yeah, it wasn't 83-14 or whatever.
What's that?
But it wasn't 83-14 or whatever, but still.
Oh yeah, that's what Thornton did to
blowout win.
Right.
So that's a pretty good win, because I thought, like, I don't know, like after that win, I wondered how Oxford Hills would bounce back after losing their first game of the season to Thornton Academy 2 weeks ago. Then last week's game against Scarborough was canceled.
Right.
Which I think they would have wanted that one, but they just came out and they took care of Bangor pretty good. And Bangor has been a tough team to a lot. They beat Scarborough, they beat Bonnie Eagle, and they've just been really, really strong this year. And Oxford Hills kind of handled them pretty, not easily, but like it wasn't
it didn't seem
nothing but a thing, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at the Crabtree points, and Oxford Hills is the number 2 seed for winning that game. So that was a big win for them.
Yeah, they kind of dropped down. Like if they wouldn't have played this game, they might have been on the road in the semifinals, which would just be a darn shame.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty good game. Eli Sorn had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 running touchdowns. He ran for over 100 yards, I believe.
Yeah, he had 153 yards rushing on 13 carries.
And threw 2 touchdown passes in the first half to O'Fiero and Bickford. Then he ran for a couple touchdowns in the second half. And also after Bangor scored in the third quarter, Nick Plamondon returned a kickoff 84 yards for a touchdown. Plamondon, I think is how you say it. Anyway, which is kind of like any kind of momentum that Bangor had, it was gone. I was watching the live feed during when that happened. I kind of turned the sound down for a second, so I didn't hear who returned it. But and then after that, Soren ran in another touchdown, and then Lincoln Merrill finished off the scoring. But it was looking like it could get kind of close there for a little bit, but that didn't last very long. So it looks like really Oxford Hills and Thornton are the 2 best teams in Class A, and maybe / probably the state, but neither team's going to have an easy time getting to the championship game, the state championship game. But still, it's like pretty exciting to think of like Oxford Hills in the state championship game.
Yeah, it looks like first they'll have to get through Bonnie Eagle in in a semifinal. So that could be tough depending on which Bonnie Eagle team shows up.
So Bonnie Eagle's third in the Crabtrees.
Yep.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, when I covered the Bonnie Eagle game, Kevin Cooper, their coach, said afterwards, like he said, hopefully we play good enough to be able to play them again back here in November.
Yeah.
Because I think at that point he realized like we're probably not going to be hosting that game. So great game all around. I know it wasn't perfect, and there was when I was watching there was a turnover that led to a touchdown, I believe. Right, a fumble right near the goal line. So, but they're finding ways. They're just kind of not really maybe not a perfect team, but a very tough and skilled team. And the more perfect they play, it just makes them more difficult to beat.
Yeah,
I think
good win going into the playoffs to feel good because you don't get to play that Scarborough game, but you play the team that beat Scarborough and Bonnie Eagle to finish, and you beat them pretty handily. So you feel pretty good, but then you don't want to. No team on earth wants to play Bonnie Eagle in the playoffs. So you're right back to reality next week. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and Telstar is just solid. Not Telstar. Oxford Hills. They're getting it done. They just like we are top two.
Yep, it's cool to see.
And I think also Steve Craig from the Portland Press Herald, he said on Varsity Main Live last night that 2 weeks ago was his first time seeing Oxford Hills, and so he saw them, and he saw a team that turned the ball over like 5 times in the second quarter.
Yeah,
and lost, but he said that he came away very impressed by Oxford Hills in that game, which is saying something. His first time seeing him, like we'd seen them at their best, and so we kind of knew like, oh, they're a good team, but like I think all 3 of us had seen them, but then he saw them for the first time at their worst and was still impressed.
Yeah, I think it was how they just bounced back in that second half after being as bad as possible, basically in that second quarter. You're right.
Yeah. Well, just how Eli Thorne, throwing the ball is crazy to watch, and just their defense is just so tenacious. They run hard to every ball and everything like that, and they're one of the more fun teams to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think they really need to make sure their running game is going next time they play. If in the playoffs when they play these teams, I think that even against Bonnie Eagle, Eli Soren's running was pretty big for them to open up the passing game, and just when the passing game was struggling, he could run for some big gains, and so he's a good player. And Justin Pelletier says Kevin Cooper is the legend. Here's the funny thing about Kevin Cooper. I thought this was funny because in the second half Bonnie Eagle stopped Oxford Hills' passing game a lot better. And I kind of asked him about that. And he's like, well, you can't really do anything. You can't really change anything at halftime with high school kids or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just like great how he's pretty honest about it. Like,
yep.
They just had to play a little bit better. You can't change the game plan at halftime.
I mean, you can. It might not change anything.
It isn't very smart, and that's coming from one of the greatest coaches in the state.
Right.
And so I thought that's great. And Justin also said, have a good morning. I guess he's signing off. The 4th member of our broadcast team.
All right, see you, Justin. Bye.
So big win for them. Spruce Mountain had a fairly nice showing against Mount Ararat. They fell behind. They fell in the hole, but they came back and they only lost by 8 points, 44-36. And I talked to Bill Stewart, who covered the game. He's the sports editor of the Kennebec Journal, the Morning Sentinel, and the Times Record. And he said that he was very impressed with Spruce Mountain, especially Cam Phillips in that game. Said that they really played well. So too bad. I know they wanted to play Mount Ararat and get another shot at them after losing in the first week, they made a good showing of their second shot, but couldn't get it done. Couldn't quite get it done. But good season for the Phoenix.
Yeah, real good season for the Phoenix. Yeah, I was watching tweets and score updates during this game, and yeah, I found the tweet that stuck out to me was Spruce Mountain fumbled a kickoff in the first, and then Mount Ararat, scored a 47-yard touchdown real quick right after it and went up 16-0. And that just shows, I mean, Mount Ararat's one of the, maybe the top team in 8-man, and those kinds of mistakes will kill you. But they made it real close and put up a real good fight. They said they wanted Mount Ararat again with their quarterback, and it was almost a different outcome. They kept it real close and scored a bunch, and real good season, I think, for Spruce in their first season in 8-man. I think I'd be pretty proud of
they
them.
prove they belong.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Spruce Mountain, Mountain Valley, and Dirigo did. They all proved that they belonged, which I kind of said at the beginning of the season that those teams always figure it out. Despite the obstacles they've had, they always figure out how to be very difficult teams to beat. And they did once again. And so to Spruce Mountain.
Yeah, and props to David Fry for doing it without an official assistant coach on his team.
Right.
Yeah, they finally got some helpers. So
they got some volunteers, yeah, but no official assistant or coaching staff. And he knew he had speed at the beginning of the year, but he wanted his team to kind of find that out, and I think they did, and they averaged just below 50 points in their last 5 games, and so you got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the names are of the speed demons they have next year.
Right, they'll probably just reload.
They always have them.
Yep.
The last game that we had today was Wyndham beat Mount Blue 56-0. So that was a rough season for Mount Blue. They got shut out a lot. And I don't know, I think they might, I don't know, they might have only scored 10 points outside of that win they had over Old Town. So
and they had some issues through the season, and when I covered the Lewiston game, they lost Hayden Dipner, who was one of their best players, and I don't think he ever returned. So
yeah,
that was a huge hit for them.
Yeah, he's a good baller too. I hope he's back by hoop season. So yeah, that was a tough year for them. I think they just seemed to they had a rough start as far as losing that first game to Lawrence. Then they had a couple times they had to take a couple breaks due to COVID issues, and then there's a field issue that they had, and
that turned into a COVID issue, and then
they just never could get going.
No, they got dealt a few tough hands.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know, next year, guys. Next year,
beating North is tough. They're in a tough division.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they seemed even tougher than usual this year. It seemed like, seemed like a tough one. Tomorrow we talked about Telstar and Marana Cook already, so we don't need to mention that again. But Poland plays Lisbon at Lisbon, where there's some delicious chili.
And always muddy turf, all muddy grass in the playoffs.
Yeah, this isn't quite the playoffs.
Super sloppy there.
Yeah. Last game of the season, jostling for Crabtree positioning. So
yeah, if it's going to be rainy and terrible conditions, that Lisbon team is going to, I mean, they ran the ball a lot and it was perfect conditions last weekend and they won. So they're just going to keep that going. I think they have a real good shot at winning that, and then string a couple wins together, going into the playoffs and see what happens, I guess, with Lisbon. But Poland has held their own this year too against a lot of teams, and has a pretty good defense. So that should be a fun one. I'm excited to see how that one turns out.
Yeah, man. If you want to count Poland out, go ahead, but I'm not going to.
They got some tall receivers, so if they can chuck it up and have some footing and have some get some sticky gloves tomorrow, they have a shot.
They showed that they can run the ball a lot too.
Yep.
I know that they kind of realized that might not be their recipe for success, but they showed they can. against Belfast of all teams. So
Yeah, might have to tomorrow.
yeah, could be
Well, later today.
a slugfest.
Yeah, right. In like 12
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, very soon. So that's the week. We didn't have very many games. Levitt was off because they had a bye in the first round of the Class C playoffs, and Oxford Hill or Winthrop Monmouth Halldale's game against Oak Hill was canceled, and Great New Gloucester is eliminated.
They're on to the winter season.
Yeah, so
Did Herman really beat Oceanside 2-0? That can't be a real
It's
score.
probably a forfeit.
probably a forfeit. Yeah,
Oh,
That's the
no.
forfeit score in football.
That's right.
It's weird that there'd be a forfeit this year.
Maybe it was a late COVID thing and it's playoffs.
Oh, is it a playoff game?
Yeah, because it's Class C.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Class D. Yeah, Class C.
All right, it's late. I didn't even think of forfeits. I was like, that's the most amazing game of all time. But no.
Yeah, and tough loss for the Lewiston boys soccer team today against Brunswick. But Brunswick just seemed like they knew the magic formula.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
This year.
Yep.
Yeah, because they held Lewiston to 1 goal and a 1-1 draw, and nobody else held them to 1 goal this season.
Well,
and nobody else tied with them, but Brunswick tied, and then they beat them 3-2.
I know. I was following Jason Fuller's tweets, and Shafi Ibrahim scored in the first minute, and then scored like 8 minutes later, and I was like, all right, they figured it out.
Yeah.
And then nothing else after that. And then just a really heartbreaking way to lose at the end.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But I mean, yeah, hats off to the Dragons. They're a strong team. And that game against Camden Hills is going to be really fun. And then if you're still into boys soccer in Maine and not just Lewiston, whichever of those two teams comes out and plays the team from the South, that'll be a really fun state final no matter what. So
the South has been a buzzsaw this year.
Yeah, because Scarborough was ranked number 1 in the varsity main poll forever, and they got knocked out pretty easy early in the playoffs.
Yeah, double OT.
I think did the number 2 team also lose in the playoffs over there in the South?
Scarborough was 2.
Oh, okay, who was number 1?
Wyndham.
Oh, are they still alive?
I think so.
Okay.
I think Wyndham. I think it's Wyndham.
Anyways, yeah, a lot of teams are losing over there too. So I don't know. It seemed like Brunswick might be the team that would be, if anybody was going to beat Lewiston this year, it seems like it might be Brunswick.
And then hat tip to Mount Abram.
That's what I was getting next. Was Mount Abram. I'm jazzed for that game. Mount Abram versus Waynfleet. I believe it's on Tuesday at Lewiston High School.
Oh, that'll be sick.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
That Mount Abram team, I watched a good amount of them in the summer thing that Lewiston holds with like all the main teams that come in and play like mini games. And they were.
They called it.
Play Day. That's right. That's what it is. The name is right in front of me and I couldn't think of it. But they played a whole lot of teams, including Lewiston, really tough. So that Mount Abram team, pretty strong. That'll be a fun game on whatever it is. He said Tuesday. So
and Darren Allen, the Mount Abram coach, he posts. I believe it's him. He posts stuff on like Instagram, some videos.
Yeah.
Of their goals, like it was against Lisbon, and like some of those goals were just amazing that they made. Like Charlie Fry was just like these great passes, and he like kicked it off the back of his foot like his heel. Yep. and they're legit. Like they're not just a small school team. They're a really good team. I know Waynfleet's kind of a power in Class C South, but that's going to be a fun game, I think.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good team. And I think his son,
check it out.
Eli is the goalkeeper. So,
Go ahead. You go ahead, Adam. Please be my guest.
It wasn't even about Mount Abram, so you go ahead.
Okay. Mine wasn't either. I was just going to say the Rangeley girls also advanced to the Class D South.
Let's go.
Regional final, which will be, I think, at Messalonsky on Wednesday or something.
Yep.
But props
Props.
for that team. What were you gonna say, Adam? I really want to hear.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The A South boys. It's Wyndham versus Marshwood, and then it's South Portland and Gorham. Gorham's the team that beat Scarborough in double overtime. And South Portland hasn't given up a goal yet in the playoffs. So that'll be a fun one. And Wyndham has been a wagon and beat Portland 3-2 last round. So
Okay. Who's the number 1 seed?
Wyndham.
It is Wyndham. Okay. Yeah. And then we have some good field hockey games tomorrow. There's so many teams playing. Mountain Valley is playing Foxcroft. Or did Deer go play Foxcroft? No, Mountain Valley plays MCI.
Yeah.
And Winthrop plays Halldale.
Hold on.
Anyways,
No.
and Lisbon plays at St. Dom's at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I think that's going to be a good game. I think Lisbon's coming on. They didn't have a lot of experience early in the season, but they just have gotten better and better. And that'd be, watch out. It could be. I mean, I think obviously we're expecting Winthrop to make it to the regional final and probably even the state final. But Lisbon they've really come along.
Yeah, they're rocking. So it's Lisbon, St. Dom's, and then in the other bracket, it's Winthrop, Halldale. And then on the other side, it's MCI, Mountain Valley, and Dirigo and Foxcroft.
Yeah, Dirigo lost to Foxcroft today.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's some exciting stuff we got going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Field hockey, and I don't think there's any soccer games that we have within our coverage area tomorrow. I think the last 2 standing soccer teams are the ones we talked about. But so we have some. And I can't believe we forgot this. Oxford Hills is at Mount Ararat, number 3 versus number 2, and Levitt is number 5, I think, and they play at number 1 York.
Class A and Class B.
Class B, and never count those Levitt Hornets out. Especially this year, they're good in every single sport this fall.
Yeah,
like
including
football,
cross country.
Yeah,
with the state meets are happening in less than 12 hours.
And Levitt's
2 hours.
Logan Ouellette finished first in Class B at the South Regionals and had the fastest time out of anybody of any class. Levitt. And I guess Levitt's soccer teams weren't great, but the Levitt boys soccer team had like a 200-minute game this week, and they lost to, I think, York in the playoffs.
Yeah, 25 rounds of PK.
Yeah, like 20. Yeah.
They always play PK games in the playoffs, like always.
Yeah. I think it almost broke like a national record. It was like two kicks or something, or 2 rounds away from.
They couldn't like purposely miss those just to set the record.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
And so, but yeah, Levitt has had a great fall season, sports season.
Good job, Hornets.
Yeah, they really a lot of buzz about them going on.
Taking that hat back.
Yep. But I think of our coverage area runners, I think Logan Ouellette probably has the best chance to finish highest in Class B. Peyton Bell, I think, will do pretty well in Class A girls.
We'll see how the Mount Blue girls do with the team.
Mount Blue girls team could do really well, and the Brosnan Comio and Alexa Allen from Monmouth, I think, will be top 10, top 13 at Class C states. So we got some good runners. And then my boy Jonathan Shoemaker.
Yep.
Class B wheelchair. We're back.
State champion in the waiting, right?
Yep. It's just how fast he wants to go. That's all. It's up to him. He'll probably go silly fast. So
yeah, that's great. Okay. Well, guys, sorry for changing the football topic, but just some exciting stuff happening outside of football.
Yeah.
I'm pretty jazzed up for 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
So that's us signing off this week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back next week, weather pending as always. And stay dry, have fun, and
be safe.
Take care of yourselves. Drive safe, arrive safe, get your pets spayed or neutered. Out.